What it is, every revolution or every political movement or any kind of change, and having someone, okay, CIA, which is fucking for you to call me CIA when you know I'm not.
Everything was politicized. It was, oh, this is when we became the left versus the right. But both sides are trash. In COVID,
his own thing. So it seems to be that money's the issue, that like we're using money and that's how politics is being pushed. Because now we've seen what someone does when they use their own money, and it doesn't seem to be a solution. So I feel like we take money out of politics, we'll have a much better political system.
Politician, you think they're gonna come out and tell me the truth? They was lying to my mama. They ain't gonna never tell us.
So everybody, we look at certain things just because, oh, this happens in the hood or we see this every day. All the way up. These people were speaking truth. King, we could talk X, we could talk it all. They were speaking truth.
What's going on in anyone's mind, but let's take it as a given that Gray's argument is true, that the argument to not have ID is that it would be discriminatory versus certain socioeconomic brackets or something. It's like
the world's greatest trial run of what people will do and what people won't do. And we are the only country on the planet that really fought against the government. A lot of it,
because you focus on 80-20 issues. I'm looking at the Epstein issue as we have 80% of the information we need to prosecute these people that actually did anything, but you're focusing on the 20% trying to take down Donald Trump, which you're never going to get. So I'm going to keep sitting here with a smug-ass face on every single day.
I'll explain. Good question. I'll give you the answer. The Republican Party constantly talks about transgenders and transgender surgery to minors. The number...
I'm mostly on the left, ideologically, but I don't associate with the Democrats because they're not ideologically on the left. The Democrats are clowns, and they're also losers.
About to be any engaging conversation. It's not about to be any discourse about different political ideologies, what works and what doesn't. If that is the outcome, right? For example, I'm not going to go and just put myself in the middle of a KKK rally.
Verify me. I'm not a fucking Fed. They always do this. I'll say this, right? But they did the same thing to Nick. We've seen the video. They'll call people who are genuine and authentic Feds because
the interesting thing to me is that the ones that claim that they believe the Constitution are now trampling the Constitution. The ones that said they believed in the First Amendment, the freedom of speech, right, are now going against the freedom of speech.
leadership perspective.
They'll have no plan. They'll never talk about nothing positive about the Democrat Party. Everything is just anti-Trump. They're not willing to have a conversation. They call us fascists. We're willing to have a conversation. Charlie Kirk's willing to have a conversation.
We begin with breaking news. Tonight, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro is in the U.S. in custody, being held at a New York City detention center. New images just into our Eyewitness newsroom show the moment Maduro was escorted by federal agents after landing in the U.S. It's been a whirlwind 24 hours after the U.S. carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela, deposing and capturing the president of a foreign nation. President Trump saying today the U.S. is now running Venezuela, and he wants U.S. oil companies to take over industry there. But many are still asking tonight what that means and what comes next. I'm Jory Rand.
I'm Liz Nagy. Let's get a closer look at where all this happened. The U.S. military and CIA carried out the attacks overnight on the Venezuelan capital of Caracas, where Maduro was arrested in his compound. The captured leader was then taken to U.S. Naval Station Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, loaded on a U.S. government plane, and flown to a New York military base with his wife, landing earlier tonight. Nicolás Maduro is now being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Surrounded by dozens of U.S. drug enforcement agents, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro landed in the U.S. as an accused criminal. His shackled shuffle across a snowy American military tarmac capped an astounding 24 hours for the South American socialist leader. Snatched alongside his wife in the dark of night in a top-secret joint CIA and military operation.
In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night.
For weeks, the U.S. had been ramping up pressure on Maduro's government, seizing 2 oil tankers and striking alleged drug boat smugglers. The overnight capture was kept hidden from some of the highest-level lawmakers.
This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on.
Now the country Maduro led for more than a decade hangs in geopolitical purgatory, and the U.S. president says American boots on the ground are a possibility.
Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military troops to provide?
Team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over.
Tonight, it's Maduro's vice president, not the country's properly elected opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, who has been sworn in to lead the country. With Maduro locked in federal jail in New York on drug trafficking and conspiracy charges, the city's newly inaugurated mayor said in part, "This blatant pursuit of regime change doesn't just affect those abroad, it directly impacts New Yorkers, including tens of thousands of Venezuelans who call this city home. My focus is their safety." Now 28+ millions of Venezuelans and billions of dollars in the country's crude oil could be under U.S. control.
We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago.
Tonight, Venezuela's vice president is calling for the U.S. to release Maduro. He could go before a federal judge in New York as soon as Monday.
El pueblo finalmente está libre. El pueblo llora por su libertad. Gracias a los Estados Unidos por liberarnos. ¡Y viva la libertad! Oye, el dictador cayó. Finalmente. Estamos libres, estamos libres. ¡Viva Venezuela libre! Gracias, Dios. Gracias. Oye, el dictador cayó finalmente. Granadito, hermano, esto es real. Estamos libres. Mira, mira cómo está la gente. ¡Viva Venezuela libre! Gracias a Dios, esto es para todos los que aguantaron, se logró.
Estamos libres finalmente. Gracias, Donald Trump. ¡Viva la libertad!
I came in this country when I was 10 years old, and ever since I was born, every single person in power of the country has abused us and abused of their power. We have been living in a dictatorship for about 20 years. So I can tell you, this feels like a breath of fresh air.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Described him as one of the most dangerous men on the face of the earth.
Welcome to the Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave. I'm Gray Mars.
I'm 85 Slim.
I'm Skeptic.
And Billions, what's good?
So we've been on vacation, so we kind of late to the party, but Maduro was captured by Donald Trump. Slim, you the MAGA person tonight, or are you celebrating it?
I love it, man. I mean, love it. Everything that I see, man. I mean, at the end of the day, my president is gangster, man. And, you know, that last administration said they was going to do something about it, but they never did, right? So can't be mad at him for doing something about it. And the way he did it was real smooth. But what I really would like to focus on is how the people feel, man. See, at the end of the day, it ain't about these rich dudes and what they feel and how their money is being stopped and all that. Forget all that. Look how the people reacting, bro. That's energy you can't take back. I don't care who you don't like. That's real energy, man. I love that.
Ken, how you feel about it?
The interesting thing about that, the people's reaction, if somebody was to come grab Trump right now, the camera would pan to 70 million people celebrating. Right, Slim?
They
right?
would. What would be the reason? They would have to have a reason, right?
But I'm saying, though, so we can't use that, though. So
we have to use that because Trump is for the people. The problem is his opposition that manipulated a whole lot of people out here where they can't see the shit.
But Slim, that's subjective. When you say that's subjective, right? So I'm saying, though, if a foreign nation would come and grab Trump right now, the camera would pan to 70 million people that disagree with you. I'm just going to say that 70 million people disagree. Now, I never thought
I live in that reality. I'll just say it, but that's not reality.
That is reality, though. Every president.
You think that's going to happen?
No. My point is,
that's my point.
There's always opposition, right? So we seen the opposition, right? I don't have a side, but I'm saying, though, that's how propaganda works, though. You know what I mean? So there's another side to that because when you scan the internet, you also have Venezuelans that disagree with their country being invaded, right? Oh, that's so. Let's be clear on that.
Balance. Hopefully, Greg got that clip.
Balance, right?
So balance, Greg, because I ain't see it yet. So definitely enlighten me.
So, Skeptic, there's a lot of talk saying that this is going to affect the Hispanic vote. That Trump doing this, now Hispanics will vote for Trump in the midterms. How do you feel about people saying
that? I think that the Latino vote is one that's kind of complex because Latinos come from a lot of different nations, right? And so every community has their own interests. But I did want to say for authenticity, I want to say 4 of those videos, the grandmothers that were crying, those are AI videos that have been factually came out to be, they are AI and they're on X and they have been reposted a lot. And then they just recently came out and said, oh, that actually those aren't real people. That's actually AI generated. The men, the young guys, I don't know if you saw the cars that were honking in the background. Like continuously, it didn't stop. It was like like there was traffic behind her that didn't make sense for that to be her background. However, I will say this: I do know that there are people that we see in other nations that fled from Venezuela that were the opposition that Ken's talking about that did not agree with Maduro recently. But when Maduro took charge after Chavez passed away, right? Chavismo was prevalent in Venezuela. I think that there's a lot of people that have been unhappy and have wanted change, and change hasn't come. And you're hearing those people speak, but also Venezuelans are starting to wake up to the realities of the US taking over. They're in a complete blackout. You're seeing Wall Street come in like vultures and start pecking at their petroleum and try to privatize it because right now the oil is not privatized. Right now, the people benefit from the production of oil in Venezuela. So they're starting to understand what this is going to mean. And you can look at other nations where America has come in and helped, and you can see how devastating it was for them.
And Slim, let's be clear. America is not a liberator. like we don't liberate people. That's not what we do, bro. You know what I'm saying? We don't set people free, right? Because we don't even set our own people free. Okay. So
you also don't give credit when it's due.
What's the credit though? So if you want to say look, if you
all right, let me ask you this.
True.
Unless you tell me, yo, the last president did what he did, or the president before that did what he did. When this person was in president, he did what he did. Like nobody can say that. What you're seeing is unprecedented. The problem is he never gonna get credit. They always gonna find something to debunk him.
But what's what I want to ask you now? If you want to talk about war games and credit how this affects China, because this is the conversation that's not being talked about with the American public in terms of war games, right? And how and how Venezuela supplies oil to China, right? And this would most likely make it harder for China to invade Taiwan because the oil reserves supply China. Like if we're talking about war games and empire games, then yeah, we could say that's credit in terms of the global empire games. But to give him credit, and if we are talking about morality, this has nothing to do with morality. This is nothing but empire games. That's all this is.
Okay, so you think that this has nothing to do with the fentanyl and none of that? He been coming, sending over here.
Bro, we deal dope. Come on, bro. Don't do that. We deal dope.
Where we get it from?
Well, let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. This is what Trump had to say.
I wonder, Mr. President, I want to ask you because from your vice president, J.D. Vance, said that the message is pretty clear. The drug trafficking must stop. So was this operation a message that you're sending to Mexico, to Claudia Sheinbaum, the president there?
Well, it wasn't meant to be, and we're very friendly with her. She's a good woman, but the cartels are running Mexico. She's not running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. So we have to do something because we lost. The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. They like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people, and we lost it to drugs, and they come in through.
So, Slim, you was talking about the drugs. Go ahead.
That's the reality of it, bro. Like, we always want to look elsewhere. The reality of it is fentanyl is taking out Americans by the thousands on a daily basis. They know where it's coming from, and they want it to stop. It has nothing else to do with all this crazy fucking space age shit we try to be on, yo. It's simple, plain and black and white. Yo, motherfucker dealing drugs, our people dying. I don't like it. Let's go get them. Done data.
Could I ask how many cartel members were arrested during this raid?
Don't care.
How many cartel associates have been arrested after the raid?
I guess we're about to find out because we got the head of the state.
And how hypocritical is
right now?
And how hypocritical is this when just cocaine specifically is America's drug? Any that's not America's drug. That's not America's drug. Cocaine is. Cocaine is. Now, so go to any high profile party with the most powerful people in this country, lawyers, judges, doctors, Hollywood execs, politician, it's cocaine on a tray going all around. Come on, bro.
Not dropping dead from cocaine.
So we'll talk about Nicolás Maduro, and I feel like a lot of people don't actually know who he is. So let's get a little background on who he actually is.
As world reactions continue to pour in, let me also tell you the story of who Nicolás Maduro is. Maduro has been Venezuela's president since 2013, but his story did not begin in a palace. It began in a working-class family. His father was a trade union leader. Maduro himself worked as a bus driver in Caracas. In the early 1990s, Maduro was drawn to a radical soldier-turned-politician. His name was Hugo Chavez. Chavez was a former army officer. In 1992, he tried to overthrow Venezuela's government. It was a failed coup. Chavez landed in prison. But his defiance also made him a national hero, especially among the poor Venezuelans. They were angry at the growing corruption. They were disappointed with the political elite. And Nicolás Maduro was one of them. He campaigned for the release of Hugo Chavez. That happened in 1994. Chavez was out of jail. And in 1998, he became president. With his rise, Maduro moved into the heart of power. First, he became a lawmaker, then he became the foreign minister of the country, and eventually he became the successor to Hugo Chavez. In 2013, when Chavez died, Maduro rose to the top. He won a tight and contested election, and that was the start of his presidency. But what followed was an economic catastrophe. Hyperinflation reached record levels, food and medicines became scarce, and millions of Venezuelans fled the country. Between 2014 and 2021, Venezuela's GDP shrank by at least 3/4. Maduro's rule also brought in political unrest. Protests erupted against his government in 2014 and 2017. But security forces cracked down hard on the protesters. Rights groups have accused his government of unlawful arrests, torture, and extrajudicial killings. Maduro, of course, has denied all these allegations, but in recent years, his election has become a significant flashpoint in the country. The opposition accused him of rigging votes and silencing rivals. In 2024, his re-election as president was rejected, not only by Venezuela's opposition, but also by international observers. Maduro says he won the election fairly, but his critics, led by the United States, say he did not. For years, Washington has not recognized Maduro as Venezuela's legitimate president. Instead, it has been turning up the pressure. The U.S. imposed sanctions on Venezuelan oil, its financial systems, and on top officials of the Maduro government. In 2020, a U.S. court in New York indicted Maduro, and some of these charges were severe. Maduro was accused of narco-terrorism, of cocaine trafficking, and of conspiring with armed groups. Washington accused him of leading a so-called cartel of the Suns. In fact, the U.S. even put a price on his capture, $50 million. That was the bounty. That was the price for any information leading to his capture. Now, of course, the U.S. has captured him. The question is, what happens next? We do not.
So, Skeptic, it's hard to defend Maduro. It seems like when you talk to right-wing people, the first thing they do is bring up his reputation and all the horrific things he's done. So do you feel like this operation should have been done like with someone with such a horrible reputation? Did he deserve to be taken out? What do you think?
I think that we should respect sovereign nations and we should respect the fact that they run their government the way that they do, because I disagree with the man that's in power now, right? But I also would disagree with a foreign power coming in and kidnapping him and saying, hey, we're going to do the work for y'all. We don't believe that he won this fair and square. This man said that he won the 2020 election, I think it was, right? That's why we had January 6th. So the fact that he's going to stand there and we're going to say, well, we don't believe you because our interest, our personal interest is in bringing down nations that are tied with BRICS, like Nigeria, like Venezuela, like Brazil. You see that we have conflicts with all of these nations. It's not about drugs. It's not about what they're saying it is. It's about oil and it's about power. And it's the collapse of the imperialistic way of trade for America is coming at the hands of these nations that we're seeing conflict with. Like it goes a little bit deeper than just drugs. And if we say that this is okay, where is he going to stop? Where is there going to be a pause for this man?
For sure. I'm gonna go to you next, Kim. But first, I'm gonna play this video, because is this legal? Was he able to do this legally?
Morning. President Trump was pretty clear yesterday. He said the United States is going to run Venezuela. Under what legal authority?
Well, first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So that leverage remains. That leverage is ongoing. And we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does. Positive results for the people of Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States. We will no longer have, hopefully, as we move forward here, we'll set the conditions so that we no longer have in our hemisphere a Venezuela that's the crossroads for many of our adversaries around the world, including Iran and Hezbollah, is no longer sending us drug gangs, is no longer sending us drug boats, is no longer a narco-trafficking paradise for all those drugs coming out of Colombia to going through the Caribbean and towards the United States. And obviously, we want a better future for the people of Venezuela. We want them to have an oil industry where the wealth goes to the people, not to a handful of corrupt individuals and stolen by, pirates all over the world. That's what we're working towards, and we intend to use the leverage we have to help achieve that.
Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela?
Well, I explained to you what our goals are and how we're going to use the leverage to make it happen. As far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats, and we get orders from courts to go after and seize these sanctions. So I don't know, is a court not a legal authority?
So is the United States running Venezuela right now?
Well, I've explained once again, I'll do it one more time. What we are running is the direction that this is going to move moving forward. And that is, we have leverage. This leverage we are using and we intend to use. We started using already. You can see where they are running out of storage capacity. In a few weeks, they're going to have to start pumping oil unless they make changes. And that leverage that we have with the armada of boats that are currently positioned allow us to seize any sanctioned boats coming into or out of Venezuela, loaded with oil or on its way in to pick up oil, and we can pick and choose which ones we go after. We have court orders for each one. That will continue to be in place until the people who have control over the levers of power in that country make changes that are not just in the interest of the people of Venezuela, but are in the interest of the United States and the things that we care about. That's what
When
we
the
intend
president
to
was
do.
asked
And the legal
yesterday-
authority is the court orders that we have.
When the
Go ahead, Ken.
So our courts have jurisdiction in their land? That's very interesting. But if this is really about drugs, I'm just curious, right? So President Trump pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who been convicted of major drug international trafficking in the U.S. U.S. federal grand jury of Manhattan found Hernandez guilty of 3 counts related to conspiring to import cocaine into the U.S. and related weapons offenses. Prosecutors allege he ran Honduras as a national narco state using his political power to facilitate the smuggling of 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S. and accepting millions of bribes from cartels, including the Sinaloa cartel. He was sentenced to 45 years. He was pardoned by President Trump on the 1st of December.
I'm gonna play Marco Rubio talking about that, and then I'll let Slim respond to that.
Look, it's very simple. This guy was indicted. No one ever did anything about it. He didn't think he was under threat or that the indictment was ever going to be enforced. It was enforced yesterday.
Hernandez was convicted by a jury.
I understand. You're asking me. The pardon authority is something that, I'm not involved in my role. I'm not criticizing it. I can't just comment on it because I just wasn't involved in those deliberations.
Do you support it?
I wasn't involved in those deliberations. I haven't looked at the case file. I haven't looked at the arguments made by, I've got a bunch of other things going on that are within my purview as Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, but pardons aren't one of them. So I can't comment on a case that, frankly, I'm aware of, but not deeply and familiar with, and I don't want to comment on something that I haven't had a chance to be involved in reviewing the file and the rationale behind it.
Mr. Secretary, thanks for your time this morning.
Slim, so why would Trump pardon the Honduran president who was convicted of drug trafficking, but go after Maduro for drug trafficking?
Because again, at the end of the day, you guys are still focusing on the substance and you're talking about cocaine. The reality is, if Joe Biden would have did what the fuck he said he was going to do when he was in office about this dude, y'all would be praising him. When Trump basically stated that fentanyl is a weapon of mass destruction, it wasn't just for him to say it. This is what people forget. This man, when he says stuff, he means it. When he said that, that's a warning. These dudes still coming through the water. He blew dudes out the water. Now they find out where it's coming from. Again, fentanyl is known as a weapon of mass destruction, not cocaine. We're talking fentanyl. It's killing Americans by the thousands. That's the problem. Period. All that other shit is hoopla.
And cocaine is a weapon of mass orgies, right? One is a weapon of mass destruction. So people die on one people get freaky on, right? And talk like a motherfucker, right? So it ain't about drugs. Come on, Slim, keep it real. It ain't about drugs.
Ken, how many times did you hear fentanyl in any of those clips that we talked about, that we just heard after his capture? How many times did you hear the word fentanyl? Because all I hear is oil, 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 oil. We're going to take control of the oil. We are managing their oil now. We have their oil. I did not hear fentanyl one time, but that's just me.
When Trump is saying drug trafficking, he's not talking about cocaine. We keep forgetting that he's really pissed off about the fentanyl. Like, y'all not even giving the man credit. He doesn't like it. He hates it. He hates the fact that Americans are dying. He hates that. Why is that so hard to see?
So I'm gonna go to you, Skeptic, because I'm gonna play a flashback clip because you just brought up the oil of Trump saying oil. So this is Trump. I don't know what year this is, but it's a flashback.
Oil from Venezuela. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it.
They really thought we weren't going to see this. I don't know why he went into Venezuela.
Go ahead, Skeptic, my man.
I just remember listening to Rand Paul, who's a Republican, say on national TV that the production of fentanyl is not happening in Venezuela. But that's just what I remember. So from what I understand, Venezuela is where they go through Venezuela, right? It's actually made somewhere else. So in reality, we're attacking a bystander or maybe a collateral. They are helping or maybe batting a blind eye at people traveling through their nation or protecting them. But we're not even attacking the root of the problem.
Well, Skeptic, you brought up a big thing. When is Trump going to stop? Because this is what Trump had to say about Greenland.
Need Greenland from a national security situation.
President Donald Trump appeared to suggest that the U.S. could intervene in the self-governing Danish territory of Greenland.
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine, and we'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days. I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic.
The Prime Minister of Denmark responded on Instagram after Trump suggested the U.S. had national security interests.
Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security, and Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
Trump has repeatedly stated that he wants to annex Greenland, an idea that Greenland and Denmark have staunchly rejected.
Ken, are we taking Greenland next?
Probably. Not just Greenland. I have a personal theory because this is about empire right now. So I personally think Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, all the islands, that's going to become a U.S. territory fully. Mexico, a lot of parts of South America, and then Canada. I believe is full-fledged empire. You're looking at Rome 2.0, right? I believe we're ramping that up for a real empire war. So instead of Canada being its own thing and Mexico being its own thing, I think we're going to absorb all that. We're going to absorb all the islands, and we're going to absorb pretty much most of South America. I think we're headed there because to compete with BRICS countries and the U.S. dollar, it doesn't have people not wanting the U.S. to be the dollar to be reserve currency. I definitely believe our whole Western hemisphere is going to be the United States. Everything. That's my prediction.
Well, supposedly China was impressed with Trump's military operation.
How this news is being received in Iran, how's it being received in Russia, how's it being received in China?
All three, predictably, will deplore this kind of activity publicly. Privately, they will be impressed with the military capability here. I would argue none of those three militaries could have executed an operation like this. And again, we tend to just breeze by this. But the idea of finding, fixing, kidnapping, taking him out alive with his wife, no casualties on the side of the U.S., that's an extraordinary military operation. So I think while there will be a lot of public condemnation of the United States, predictably from those three nations, privately they'll be saying to themselves, that's a very capable military. That's not a bad thought to pop up in Beijing, Moscow, and Tehran these days.
So, Slim, do you think it's good that China and Iran are impressed by this?
Of course. It's, like I said, it's a message at the same time, man. Like, F around and find out. At the end of the day, man, that's where I'm at with it. I'm happy with my president. I'm happy where we are with this country. We are Americans, man. Forget all that soft shit. I ain't trying to be on no soft shit. Everybody want to be worried about their feelings and shit. And everything always about fucking oil, man. Desert Storm was about oil. Fucking 9/11 was about oil. Everything about fucking oil. Come on, man. Like, let's just see what it is, yo. These people have been taking us out with that fentanyl shit, and it's been in record-breaking numbers. Children are dying. Kids are dying over that shit. He ain't go get that dude just for no oil. He took his wife and everything. Think it's because of oil? We talk about lives. It ain't just about oil. If that was the case, he would have been captured. If it was about oil, Trump wouldn't have had to do it. He'd been on this tear. If it was about oil, he would have been fucking captured 3 administrations ago. Come on, man.
So this is what Trump said about Cuba.
And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Well, I guess that was Lindsey Graham glazing Trump. Skeptic, how do you feel about them talking about going after Cuba? We were normalizing relationships with Cuba when Obama was in office. Is Trump just going too far? Is he trying to start World War III?
I think he's going like backwards, which this is what white, men have always done. They've been imperialistic. They've always gone into nations and they have pillaged and stolen and taken whatever they want and then just leave ruins. They've done this with other nations. And so I think that's what they're wanting to do because they saw that these nations were going to stand up against them. They weren't going to play ball. They weren't just going to roll over and tell them, go ahead and take my natural resources. We live in a new day and age where people don't just want to, you tell them what to do and they do it. They need explanations. People are, they have information at their hand with their phones. So if you don't want the people to uprise and say, why are you just rolling over for the US? Then, you have to give them an explanation. But I will agree with Slim on this. I don't think it's just oil. I think that Maduro was making fun of him, was dancing, was kind of, mocking this man. And he's such an arrogant man that he can't stand that anybody would not just kiss his feet. So I think it was a multitude of things. I also think that BRICS has something to do with it because we also bombed Nigeria. So I'm seeing a trend here. It almost seems like these nations that are part of BRICS that have a lot of natural resources are being targeted. It's interesting.
For sure, for sure. Well, you guys brought up a good point. I wanted to play the video because I don't know if a lot of people know that China was actually was doing a meeting with Maduro during this right before he got invaded. But here's the clip.
Me trae muy buenos recuerdos. Feliz año. Este es el año del caballo, ¿verdad? Usted es caballo. Yo soy tigre. Tú. Tanto tiempo. Yo lo conocí a él muy joven. Muy joven. Hace 20 años. Hace 20 años que conocí. Como traductor cuando estaba el presidente Juntao. Ahora es director. Qué increíble, ¿verdad? Como pasa el tiempo. Estás igual.
Yeah, I want to play that because both of you guys brought up BRICS. Ken, did you want to add anything to that? Because I know you brought up BRICS as well.
I just wanted to say that China is Venezuela's largest oil importer with recent figures as of 2025, 2026, suggesting imports around 470,000 barrels per day, right? So this has a lot to do with oil, but it also has a lot to do with competition. This has everything to do with China. This affects China, right? So this is about competition. This is empire games. So the way that you have to sell this to the American public is sell it morally, right? The way that you get the American people on board for every war is to appeal to our fake ass moral conscience. We're good, they're bad, right? I've been watching this shit for 42 years, going back to Desert Storm. It's always sold like that, right? We're good, they're bad, right? But this has what I do enjoy about Trump though is as much as you can say, he says it. Right? If you really listen, as much as you can say, like Obama was such an orator and had so much charisma, and it's so much words, right? So you feel a certain kind of way. But what I do like about Trump is he does give you a look a little bit behind the veil of the conversation of international bankers, the conversation of the most powerful people in the world, what they think. That's as close as you're going to get to him, because everybody after him is going to give you more political fluff, right? But what I can appreciate with him is you can hear what it really sounds like with real globalists, and what the conversation really is, right? But this has nothing to do with morality. This has nothing to do with our poor sons and daughters dying from fentanyl, like Slim is talking about. This is about empire games. But to sell it to the American public, you always have to sell it to the Southern Baptists. You always have to sell it to the person in Nebraska and middle in America in those church homes, right? Who, for real, is anti-intellectual, right? You always have to sell it to the people that don't read no fucking books.
Well, Maduro did have court today, and he put in a verdict of, not verdict, but what is it? He said he was not guilty.
As he was captured and detained, he says, "I'm innocent. I'm not guilty. I'm a decent man."
To which the judge says there will be time to argue that later. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's not what we're here to do at this moment. The judge then asked if Maduro has read the indictment. The counsel, about whom we just spoke, answered for him and says it's been summarized for him and that he understands it. Maduro then waived the public reading of the charges, says he will read them himself. The judge did then read him his rights. He acknowledged his counsel, Mr. Pollack. Then the judge read essentially his Miranda, and then Maduro said he did not know of these rights, but that he is now informed. And then Maduro went on to plead not guilty.
Wow. He says, "I am still president of my country."
Right.
And this is what I have to say about Maduro, what people not saying. Like, Maduro was able to survive, to live and be able to tell the story. There's a lot of people in that situation, Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, that didn't get to live to tell the story. He was right at the safe room that he was going to go into, but I don't know how they got him, but he got with no scratch on him, so he gets to go to court and he gets to see, okay, I know Trump is who sent these people at me, and now, I can at least go to court instead of, getting deleted inside of my house. But, Skeptic, what do you think?
I mean, I do agree with that. I guess he scaped. I want to say that it was strategic in not unaliving him, because the Venezuelan people, I feel like at that point wouldn't have had much of like going back and forth. Right now, you still are keeping the people kind of, at bay. They're controllable. They're not just, although they are protesting in Venezuela. I don't know if y'all have seen the videos, but people are protesting. They are upset. And from what I understand, the vice president, Rodriguez, she's going to take, according to her government, she is the person who succeeds him, Maduro. And she has been, she's very similar to Maduro. Actually, she believes everything that he does. And she said today that what they did was illegal and that he was kidnapped. So it almost seems like what they're saying they're fighting for isn't happening because you didn't put anybody in place. I feel like if he truly believed what he was saying, he would have put Maria in place that won the Nobel Peace Prize. But this man is so arrogant. He's just like, his arrogance does not let him see clearly. He stopped that from happening. That would have been the logical thing. But people with hate that are doing this for their own benefit, because you're seeing Wall Street and hedge fund managers fly to Venezuela. They're all coming in because they know that right now is the time to go in there and grab all that you can. This is a gold mine. We all have to get here, grab as many things as we can, make as much money as we can, and let's dip. So it's not for a moral thing, like Ken was saying. They're not doing this for any kind of moral thing. They're doing it to benefit themselves.
Since you brought her up, I'm going to play the lady that won the Nobel Peace Prize, her response on this.
People talk about invasion in Venezuela, the threat of an invasion in Venezuela, and I answered, Venezuela has been already invaded. We have the Russian agents, we have the Iranian agents, we have terrorist groups such as Hezbollah, Hamas, operating freely in accordance with the regime. We have the Colombian guerrilla, the drug cartels that have taken over 60% of our populations, and not only involved in drug trafficking, but in human trafficking, in networks of prostitution. So this has turned Venezuela into the criminal hub of the Americas. And what sustained the regime is a very powerful and funded, strongly funded repression system. Where does that funds come from? Well, from drug trafficking, from the black market of oil, from arms trafficking, for human trafficking. We need to cut those flows. And once it happens and repression is weakened, it's over, because that's the only thing the regime has left, violence and terror. So we ask the international community to cut those sources, because the other regimes that support Maduro and the criminal structure are very active and had turned Venezuela into the safe haven for their operations into the rest of Latin America.
Before you guys respond, I'll play another person that I was shocked that agreed with Trump.
And who voted for this? The people in South Florida. The Venezuelan community, the Cuban American community, the Nicaraguan American community voted for this. And for us, this is a very, very happy day when we see a dictator who has been part of oppressing and abusing the Venezuelan people for 25 years. When we see him in handcuffs and held to some sort of accountability, it brought me to tears. It brought me great joy. And, you know, I live in South Florida.
But are you okay with the way that it was done?
But you can, I think both things can be true.
Okay.
I think you can criticize and ask questions and have concerns about the way it was done and what this means in the future.
Right.
And I think you can still celebrate that this murderous, corrupt, sadistic son of a bitch is out of Venezuela.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he has, I think there's 8 million Venezuelan exiles all over the world. People have fled from this man's tyrannical rule. So for me,
Slim, you gonna start watching The View now?
Nah, never that, never that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just logic, man. I mean, once people just wake up to just normal logic, we'll be fine. I mean, everything is all backwards right now, and that's what I was going to say. A lot of liberals were mad because this guy was a dictator, but yet Trump was getting rid of a dictator, but y'all called Trump a dictator, so it was kind of confusing. But that shocked me to see her agree with Trump for real. But the reality is, man, if you're a logical person, you understand why this had to happen. You understand why this is right. And you understand the reason why. And that previous clip, she didn't mention nothing about oil. She said drugs and trafficking and drugs and trafficking. Period. I digress.
So people... I'm gonna go to you next, Ken. But people disagreeing about this is spilling into the streets. This is what happened outside the courthouse while Maduro was in court.
Venezuela. Esa bandera no es de ellos, esa bandera es de nosotros, esa bandera no es de ellos.
Venezuela, yo, we are Venezuela. You are from my country. What part of Venezuela you are? 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 You are not from my country. You are not from my country. You are not from my country. You are not from my country.
No volverá. No volverá. We want justice, you say how.
Release Maduro right now.
Release Maduro right now. Preparados.
Hay tono de biche, hija de puta, perra, nigger.
That's what we're doing. That's what needs to get done. Not to the U.S. Not to the people that are capitalists. They want to destroy everything that's built by the people.
Out of Venezuela, nigger, africana. Country, you are not from the country. Don't be stupid. You are not from my country.
I love the Marine. God bless God bless America.
You support his imprisonment.
Yeah.
La mejor operación quirúrgica que necesitaba el pueblo venezolano. No importa, no me importa eso. Han muerto miles de venezolanos. Han muerto miles de venezolanos. Defending myself. He hit me. He did it. Right there, you said thank you. Get him the fuck out of here.
Suck my dick,
Enough, it's over.
Fuck up.
Let's go. That's twice now, bro. Enough.
No, pero tiene que
yo lo sé, mi rey, pero déjalo.
Tiene que Venezuela. No war with Venezuela. No war with Venezuela. Viva, viva. Pero la policía está a favor. Viva, viva Venezuela. Lucha, lucha Venezuela. Lucha, lucha Venezuela. El dinero, the money.
Kid, why can't we all just get along?
Man, do you know being a paid seat filler is a position, right? So you can get paid as a shopper to go in and shop and spy. You could get paid as a seat filler. I think both sides people be paid. Like on your day off, you was like, yo, I'm about to go downtown and do this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you left your children and you went down to do this. No, I think both sides have paid things, but I understand empire games, and I'm only disputing the moral shit of we're doing this for a higher purpose. Slim, by the way, 480,000 deaths a year are smoking related. 10,000 deaths a year are DUIs, right? So the U.S. deals drugs. We have prescription drugs. We have cigarettes. We have alcohol. Also sugar, MSG, aspartame. That's all in the food, right? All the dye that's in the cereals and shit like that. The children are high off sugar all day, right? Our government allows chemicals to be put in food for the babies, right? You know that, right? So I just wanted to push back on this ideal of we are taking the moral high ground because we are tired of American citizens dying from chemicals, right? 480,000 deaths a year are related to smoking. 10,000 deaths a year are related to DUIs. And I don't even want to get into the obesity crisis in America based on chemicals that's in foods. That's legal. That's legal, right? So I just push back on the moral high ground, but I'm an American. I understand empire games, but the moral high ground shit, that shit is fake.
So this person said that they're going to be sharing a cell with Maduro.
Guys, remember when I told you that I was arrested? I was in prison with Diddy, the president of Honduras, and Sam Bankman-Fried, I believe, the FTX guy. And you guys thought I was lying? Y'all remember that? And then it came out, the president of Honduras was like, yo, he's such a cool guy. I put Diddy on the phone with academics. Now I'm about to go meet the president of Venezuela. I have that luck of just being locked up with presidents. Oh, and I'm about to meet Luigi too. I guess Luigi Mangione. About to play chess with them niggas, eat ramen noodles. Making chichis out shebangs.
Slim, you rap. Is that a flex? Being in the cell with the Venezuelan president?
Yeah, come on, that dude is a joke, man. but yeah, man. I mean, like the way I look at this topic is just, you know, another situation of the president doing what he was saying he was going to do, and another situation of the hate going back at him for doing what he said he was going to do. And you got to remember, man, you know, I employ people in Nigeria. I employ people in Jamaica. After the hurricane, what they tell me what America has done for them is what touches my heart, because it's things that I couldn't do for those people that work for me. Even what was going on in Nigeria when they was kidnapping the preachers and all that stuff with the Christians. I had to call Nigeria to find out were they okay. And they said, no, America is sending more troops, things of that nature. These are the things that I'm hearing on my side. So when I hear these things about what my country's doing and I'm involved, I got a vested interest in these people. Yo, I'm looking at everything that he's doing on a positive note because I don't have no hate in my heart for anyone, number one. Number two, I see what he's been through and he's still standing. Yo, he's the man, bro. Like at the end of the day, he fights for the people, and that's what I respect.
For sure. So I'm gonna play this last clip. This gonna be off-topic clip. This is gonna be from 6ix9ine again.
Oh.
I'm not the nigga police either. Like I got Mexican friends that say nigga more than me.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm waiting for the nigga police. Like I'm waiting for the nigga police to come. Like I wear the nigga police at. I want a big black nigga to come with a nigga police shirt and be like, yo, I don't like you saying nigga, bro. Know what I mean? Who gonna stop me?
And us as black people, we like, damn, like
that. Yeah, well, like as a black person, what you want us to say? How do you want us to answer that? I'm sorry.
No. It's not like
what you want us to say? Yo, I'm sorry,
It's
bro.
not like I'm sorry
say
thing.
No more.
It's just like,
yo,
damn,
when it's
like,
my camera.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna give you the answer you want. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not gonna say it no more. I'm fucked up. Damn, I lost all my endorsements. I lost my fucking bounty commercial. Sorry, I'm never gonna do it again. Fuck out of here. You see how clown that shit is? I'm not doing that, bro.
Yeah.
Niggas not doing that.
Skeptic, are Mexicans allowed to say the N-word?
No, I disagree with the N-word. Let me tell you. So my husband is black, right? My daughter's mixed. All of my family that's here isn't like black. And my whole family doesn't live here, right? So Latino community, I don't really have a lot of involvement because all I've ever known since I moved over here is the black community I've been embraced in. I do not endorse it. I don't think that you should say it. I have never said it. I don't say the word. My daughter got in trouble at her private school for saying it. And when I walked in, the teacher was like, oh, your daughter said something inappropriate. And I was like, oh, what happened? And she said this word. And I was like, oh, well, my daughter's black. And so in her family, the lady was like taken aback. Like, no, she can't say that, ma'am. I was like, oh, I'm trying to explain to you why she would be okay with that. But I understand she can't say that. But I was put in a very weird position, y'all, in a private school. And I was like, this is wild. I never thought this would happen. It was the craziest thing. So definitely not. I don't know why. I think Mexicans kind of like culturally we're kind of alike, but I think you have to understand like where the line is at.
Slim, what about you? What you think? You muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
This topic is crazy because I'm a New Yorker. And if you're a New Yorker, everything is the N-word. Everything. Girls, guys, cars, shoes, bugs, roaches, everything. And we never looked at it like that. Like growing up in the North is different than growing up in the South. Like when I came down to Florida, I was working at this place called Leisure Bay, and they made jacuzzis. And a dude named Danny was my manager. So I used to chill with another dude named Snooze. And I used to be like, man, this and Danny, he always messing with me. And he'd be like, man, that's a cracker, man. That's a cracker. And I'm like, what you mean that's a cracker? Like I was lost to that. You know what I mean? I had no idea that he took it seriously when I would call Danny the N-word. But I was just being a New Yorker. That's just how we talk. So it's different if you're from New Jersey, New York area. We don't even sweat it. Like white dudes be saying, I can't say white dudes, but there's white dudes that look white, but they kind of like from the hood. They say it all the time, like a Fat Joe or like 6ix9ine or whatever. They say it all the time. 6ix9ine from New York, so that's why he say it. But the public is like, wow, he's saying nigga, but 6ix9ine is just talking. It's just how it is.
Ken?
We give words power, and we take power from words. The reason why we react to it is because that's like the last stronghold. You know what I mean? From the past. You know what I mean? Like if we stop responding to it, it kind of starts blurring the lines of the past. So it's like a cultural remembrance of a time period, right? But look, that is a class conversation too. I'm reading something called the Trivium, right? It's grammar, logic, and rhetoric. It's part of the 7 liberal arts. The other part of it is called the quadrivium, right? This is a federal informant, right? Say cheese appeals to a certain class demographic where, I'm gonna try to say this nicely, you ain't the smartest knives in the drawer to sit up and watch that shit. You know what I'm saying? Your mental bandwidth ain't that far, right? It's just not. You know what I'm saying? So certain things appeal to a certain kind of resonance. You know what I'm saying? Like the conversation of N-word and the shit like that, right? Meanwhile, do you think that that is the conversation of the international bankers? Do you think that is the conversation of the financial forecasters? Do you think that is the conversations of people that's moving the blockchain along? Do you think that's the conversation of those that are looking at singularity and creating smart cities? The only people that will respond to this kind of shit are the people that are at the bottom of the class strata.
No, I'm kidding. They say it. I feel like they say it.
I
ain't gonna lie.
No.
I live in the South. I know someone who's a senator. They trade shit. I'm like,
no. I'm not saying if they say it or not. What I'm saying is words create worlds. That's talking about grammar, right? The fact that we respond to a word. I'm talking about the implication of the power of the word. Those that respond to the word, emotionally respond, are at the bottom of the class strata. Because if you do something called neuro-linguistic programming, you don't respond to words like that.
I feel you. I mean, I feel like it's like culturally, like they mix, and especially dating and with black guys and Spanish girls, because I remember it was a hurricane, the power went out. It's how you deliver stuff, because the power went out. The girl boyfriend, well, I guess he was leaving her because the power was out, and then like she went out, she was like, "You effing." I was like, and we all got the door open. She was so embarrassed, like being seen, but it's the context and the way that you use the word. But I'm gonna play this last video because it's the clips that went viral with Maduro.
Aquí no esperan Miraflores, no se tarde en llegar, cobarde.
Biggie. But if you watch it right now, hit that subscribe button and press that notification bell. Know we go live. Skeptic, what's member of the man cave? What's your final thoughts?
I think it's ironic that we continuously said that there was a group of people that were invading us and they were taking our resources and they were living off of taxpayers. And then we turned around, invaded them, and are taking their oil. It's very ironic to me. I continue to think on this. I am like, it almost seems like we are projecting on other people. And for the people that say that we're doing this because we care about Venezuelans, the same Venezuelans that are cheering now because you claim that you removed a dictator were the same people you were sending back to Venezuela to be potentially unalived. So like, miss me with the I care about morals. There's a lot of hypocrisy or a lot of contradictions that are happening, and you do have to look deeper at things. At face value, it can be one thing, but you have to think outside the box because there's multiple things, the multiplicity of topics or of things that are going on at the same time. You have to look at to why are people doing what they do. And I will say, do not let anyone trample on your constitutional rights. Follow us on TikTok. We have been having very good discourse on TikTok, so follow us there and come back on Wednesday. And the chat did really good on hitting like, so we appreciate you guys hitting that like button.
For sure. You brought your catchphrase back?
I did. I'm bringing it back. I believe in the Constitution again.
For sure. Slim, what's your final thoughts?
Yeah, man, good show. Congratulations to my president for doing his job again. Shout out to all the Trump haters out there. Still love y'all. Shout out to the Raven fans. Love y'all too. With that being said, man cave.
For sure. Kid, what's your final thoughts?
A lot of Slim's positions today have everything to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers winning yesterday. A lot of it is tied to that. He has a different tone depending on how the Steelers perform. So he had the tone I thought he would have today because of the Steelers. But check it. You know what I mean? As an American, two things can be true. You know what I'm saying? So these are empire games that on one side, but then I also think about what if we get oil for gas for $2 a gallon, right? What if my quality of life goes up from empire games, right? I don't agree. I don't agree with a lot of shit we do in terms of our foreign policy, but I also live in America too, right? So on one hand, I could disagree, and I'm like, damn, that shit not cool. But at the same time, I live in a place that is a known bully and a known we bring smoke to people. And the smoke that we bring, I would be fake to act like the smoke that we bring to other people doesn't benefit me and my family, because it does. I have an iPhone. I have rubber on my tires. I'm able to run my shower long as hell. I know my quality of life is based on other people being oppressed. And I would be fake not to admit that, right? So as an American, I don't agree with a lot of shit that we do in terms of our foreign policy, the way that capitalism works domestically and abroad. But at the same time, my counter is marble. And I live a certain quality of life, and I have a 6-bedroom crib, and I know a lot of this shit that I have and the way that I live is based on other people not having. So there's a huge contradiction there. So I guess that's what it is being an American. Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
For sure. Everybody follow everybody on their names is right up under them. It was covered by the banner if you guys didn't see it. But we do this every Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, they're going to be actually talking about the reaction that people had to this happening. It's going to be a special guest that we met at AmFest. So come back for that and just keep rocking with us. Man Cave, have a good night.